There's an interesting court battle going on that will impact most cruisers. At the heart of it is, when can cruisers sue after they've signed a cruise contract? We also have another change coming from Norwegian Cruise Line, and the story of a cruiser who's maybe making their next cruising decision based on saran wrap. Saran wrap. All that and more on today's episode of The Cruise Show.
All aboard! Your ship is leaving. Talking about everything going on in cruising. It's the Lido, Loca time. It's the Cruise Show. It's the Cruise Show.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Lido, Loca. Welcome to The Cruise Show. I am your host, Tony, here to talk you through everything going on in cruising. It's everything going on in cruising. It's for your face. For your face on a Monday the 13th of October, 2025. And well, we've made port in Boston, and it's a bit of a dreary day. We knew that as we tried to outrun this nor'easter coming out of New York, that we would face a lot of rain on this cruise, and certainly that is the case. And it opens up the door for what are you going to do on your cruise day? Are you going to go explore Boston in the rain? Are you going to stay on the Enchanted Princess and chillax? For me, I've chosen to stay here and talk to you about what's going on in cruising. Interesting stories today. The first one, the heart of that story is, when can cruisers sue? But the particulars of the story surround a crew member that was caught filming cruise passengers. Now, they say that this person this happened a few years ago. The crew member was busted with a hidden camera. He got 30 years for this crime. But what happens is, now there's a potential 900 people that were being serviced by this crew member over his tenure with Royal Caribbean International. And now they've found out, 900 people now have this realization that maybe they have been filmed. And so lawyers got together, they filed a class action lawsuit on behalf of these potentially 900 people. And they want emotional damage, those kind of things. And it's interesting because, until they heard that they'd been filmed or potentially been filmed, that maybe this trauma did not occur. And so this is the battle that's playing out. Royal Caribbean has asked for a dismissal of this class action lawsuit, saying that no physical actions of the crew member impacted these people, that it was only after they heard about the filming that the trauma occurred. And they're also saying that because all of these passengers signed a cruise contract, that they should be going through arbitration. They should not be allowed to file a lawsuit. And that's the matter that is going forward to a judge this week to really address whether this class action lawsuit should be dismissed, and whether the contract that Royal Caribbean had these passengers sign, whether, because it says they have to go through arbitration, whether that's going to hold up. And it's impactful for all of us because we all sign these contracts, and I don't think many of us read deep into it. And it would not surprise me if almost every cruise contract talked about arbitration over litigation. This is multi-layered. It's interesting. There's a lot of components, especially to, with people being filmed and potentially minors being filmed. It raises an interesting question. Can cruisers sue cruise lines after they've signed a cruise contract that says arbitration? We will be watching it and see what happens. So I just signed up for a new internet service, and as I did, I had to click a button that said it was okay for that internet service to use my private data. So that means now there's going to be another entry with my personal data in a data warehouse being bought and sold by data brokers. Now the cool thing, because I said you could use my data, I can also go back and say you can't use it anymore. The problem is I don't really know how to get back to that person. That's why I'm thankful for the sponsor of today's episode, Incogni. Incogni is a service that works on your behalf to get your private internet data removed from data brokers and data warehouses. Big data is big business, and your data being bought and sold. You are the commodity these days on the internet. Your data is the commodity being bought and sold everywhere, and that's why you end up with spam and more opportunities to be hacked and identity thieves. it's very important to get your data removed from these data warehouses. Incogni is a simple way to go about it. Real easy 3-step process. First, you sign up with Incogni. Number 2, you authorize them to work on your behalf. And then number 3, you just sit back while they make all of these requests. The time saving is amazing. To date, I've had over 550 requests made on my behalf. I've had data removed from over 450 of these websites. Like, you can try Incogni for yourself at a discounted price. If you scan the QR code that's on the screen or click the link in the description, you can save 60%. Save 60% off your Incogni subscription with my code Lido Loca. Thank you, Incogni, for sponsoring today's episode. All right, let's flip back a little bit to yesterday's show. The big topic was a lot of the changes that Norwegian Cruise Line has been making, and one of the latest ones was this change, the restrictions put on the room service that you can get on Norwegian Cruise Line. There's a whole conversation about every guest can only get one hot and one cold item for their flat fee in room service, and we saw that it was only happening on the Norwegian Sun. Well, really, I want to recommend to you guys Cruise News Today and the podcast Cruise Radio. It's our friend Doug Parker. He is the gold standard when it comes to cruise news. If you're looking for like straight reporting of cruise news, a little less commentary, more reporting, more, fact-finding, digging into it, that's Doug Parker. He produces his show, puts it out every day around 7 a.m., Cruise News Today. Then he has a weekly podcast. He reached out to Norwegian Cruise Line looking for clarification as to their new policy. They did respond to him saying that, yeah, they are, altering their room service. They're putting some restrictions on there, and they want, to reduce waste and they, keep control of things. So the hot cold is for breakfast. So every guest can get a hot and cold item for breakfast. And then when you move on to after breakfast, they're limiting the amount of food items that each guest can get to 2 per guest. So if there's 2 of us in this cabin, if we were on Norwegian, we could both get 2 entree type items for room service for the flat fee. The breakfast over there, $4.95 flat fee, and then the after breakfast, $9.95. That's per cabin, so it's not per person, it's per cabin. But yeah, Norwegian making some changes, and then we've got another one today that has been verified. They have come out and said, look, in this time of sustainability, in this time of reducing paper and plastics, those kind of things to make cruising more environmentally friendly, we're doing away with the paper schedule. They're not going to have the daily paper schedule delivered to your cabin every day. Instead, they're suggesting that you go onto your mobile device and you do all of your cruise planning for the day there. It's not completely going away. So for those guests who do want to still get the paper schedule of events, they can call down to guest services and it will be delivered to them during their cruise. There's also going to be stations throughout the cruise ships where you can get a paper version of the schedule. But, I kind of like the move because I don't really use the paper schedule that much. And so it is wasted paper on me. And so this will be nice. So for the people that really want it, they can still get it. If you're just walking around and you'd like to reference one, you'll be able to pick one up somewhere. But then for people that don't use it at all, they're not going to waste that paper. So Norwegian continues to make the changes. Changes. Can't. Shout out Ludacris. The Norwegians, it seems like they're in the headlines a lot lately, but I feel like this is a good change. What do you think about that change? And then can we talk about luggage? There's 2 really interesting luggage posts in the Carnival social media today. And one of them, it kind of ends with this statement that based on this luggage practice, I may or may not choose to cruise with Carnival again. So the first one is an interesting request. There's somebody out there saying, hey, I love to unpack when I go on a cruise, but one thing I hate after I unpack is I hate continuing to see my suitcases in my room. And does Carnival have a suitcase service where they'll take your suitcase from your cabin and they'll stow them somewhere else on the cruise ship and then bring them back, the night before you got to leave or something like that? I don't know. They reference some other cruise line that apparently does this. I don't know of any other cruise line the major kind of mass market cruise lines. I don't know any of the cruise lines that offer this service. Maybe they do at the suite or the high level or something like this, but this is what I know. And if you're a new cruiser, maybe this is information you can use. Most every time that we unpack our suitcases, we just put them under the bed. That's usually the standard operating procedure for most cruisers. You empty out your suitcase, you put it under the bed. it's a crazy ask, really. Could you imagine that if after somebody unpacked their bags, they had to gather up all the empty luggage, find some place to stow it on the cruise ship, keep it organized, and then at the end of the cruise, the manpower would be insane. It's so funny because there are a lot of crew members on cruise ships. They're already worked extensively. I could not imagine. I guess the question is, would you pay for this service? I don't know anybody that does that, so help me out in the comments if you're somebody that knows of a cruise line that offers this service. But I guess it's a good question. What do you do with your luggage when you unpack on a cruise? And do you think the cruise line would you think people would use a service if they could? They would have to charge for it. I can't imagine. If it was free, I think it would be unmanageable. What do you think about that one? And now going from that luggage story, let's unpack this next luggage story. Wink, wink, unpack. Get it? Let's unpack this next luggage story. There was a cruiser that was cruising on Carnival Cruise Line that during the flight over to their cruise, their luggage got damaged. There was a big crack like 3/4 of the way into their luggage and their wheel got broken. And they went onto the Carnival cruise ship and they were asking if Carnival could saran wrap their bag. Now, they reference a service that I have seen at airports before where you can get your bag wrapped with saran wrap probably like industrial strength saran wrap prior to the flight. Apparently this maybe helps reduce damage or keeps your bag together, something like that. I'm assuming that has to happen after security because sometimes security wants to open your luggage. But yeah, they were wondering why Carnival did not offer a saran wrap service. And they also mentioned that because Carnival doesn't offer a saran wrap service, they may not choose to cruise with Carnival again. And Carnival responded saying, look, yeah, no, we don't have the saran wrap service. That would be interesting if we did. But one thing that maybe we can help you out with is we do have people that can repair luggage. And I've seen this. I've been on Carnival cruises before. I know people whose luggage was damaged during the embarkation process, and Carnival worked with them to try to repair their luggage. And then if they couldn't repair their luggage, I think there's some instances where they will replace luggage, but apparently they got a whole squad of people that know how to repair luggage. So the person that went in asking for the saran wrap, they were offered this luggage repair. I don't know if they got their luggage repaired or not, but again, that just opens up questions in my mind. Should Carnival be offering should any cruise line be offering a saran wrap service? Have you ever used a saran wrap service for your luggage? What does it do? Is it helpful? Would it be helpful on a cruise ship? Leave a comment below. There you go. That's everything that's going on in cruising. Big thanks again to Incogni for sponsoring today's episode. This is Tony for La Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.